Okay, so this video is in two parts now because the I think memory must have run out or filled up. So basically the part that I got to is literally on the icebreaker, which is basically, so the petitions committee have kind of, what they've done is they've invited, well, we always conduct petitioning in agency with Parliament, okay? Because that's the place where your petitions get heard, okay? But like with the court, you know, you're bringing a case to the court, right? But the police are an organisation, and the Crown Prosecution Service are a different organisation, and they've all got their own functions, right? And they work together. And the police go and investigate. The CPS can direct the police and can also, you know, get evidence and certain things, but they mainly present to a court, and then the court are also separate, but it's heard in the court, right? Now, without the police, the Crown Prosecution Service don't have any evidence or charges. And without a court, they've got nowhere to hear a case to try it, okay? So you need all those three separate agencies for one process, which results in the conviction, right? And then you've also got probation service, right? And in the same way, if Parliament doesn't have a House of Lords, it can't get legislation given assent by the King. And without any electors, there aren't any MPs in Parliament because we don't vote for any, and they don't really have any material. The material's going to come from the people. The Labour Party can say all it wants about, you know, it's got a manifesto, it's got policies, but where are its members? Its members are the party, right? Because if Labour Party was just every single Labour politician, right, every MP, you can't have a room full of Labour MPs and say, that's the Labour Party, right? You know, screw everyone else. Because they might have ideas, they might have a manifesto, they might have a party headquarters, right? But those persons, right, if you've got a Labour Party headquarters, right, and you say, this is Labour, right, and it's Keir Starmer, you know, and Rachel Reeves, and, you know, Ed Miliband, Angela Rayner, right? Those persons, okay, and say, all right, we're coming up with all these ideas for policies and manifesto and all these things, right? It's us, you know, we don't need anyone else, right? How did they get there? They had to be voted in. You know, if you get these people in this room, these Labour Party members, and then they all split up and go stand in a polling station, right? They don't appear from nowhere in a polling station like a genie rubbing a lamp, right? Even then, someone's got to rub the lamp, right, to get them out. You have to have persons, right? They can't be, you know. I mean, look at Reform or the Reclaim Party. You know, for a while they didn't have anyone in Parliament, but there was still a party. They had to get elected. So you have to have the public. They're an integral part of it. And we've got the right to bring the material, right? We've got the right to bring the material, bring the matters, bring the cause, bring the cases, right? And without the cause and cases, then there's nothing to have in Parliament. And then, you know, and without anything put through Parliament, the House of Lords can't make anything into law, right? So you got these separate agencies, each with their own distinct privileges, which is like you have with the police. The police have got their own laws and rules and privileges, as have the Crown Prosecution Service, as have the court. But they all, you know, as has the defendant as well, right? And this is the thing with the petitioners. And these have been denied and ignored. Now, because they're such quite formidable, serious and important privileges, right? What happened in 2006, and there's been lots of different things happening through history, like the Tumultuous Petitioning Act and the 1698 Bill of Rights and so forth, right? And a lot of acts of law. Actually, in fact, the acts of law have actually been acknowledging and extending on the privileges and even codifying it. And it's nowhere near as intricately codified as the police, but there are definitely some laws there which are fully compatible and made for it, even though some people have been in complete and utter denial of it. Yet they can't be in denial of it completely, because there are certain persons in government who have intended to make this legislation to be used, right, with a purpose, like the Control of Advertisements 2007, right, which is tailor-made for using privileges for canvassing in public, right, whether it's for elections or petitions. And you've got the Public Meeting Act, Copyright Act, Criminal Damage Act, Representation of the People Act. There are a lot of different acts which all cover all the different aspects of the work, of the agency, of the proceedings, specifically and purposely for it, like the Control of Advertisements, and meetings in public, right? Because they're the main things that you do, right? Where the police, the main things the police do is pursue evidence, and apprehend criminals and question them, and then get evidence and charge them and put it through to court, right? Or even pursue them, right? Arrests. With petitioning, you can actually ask for an inquiry, and you can go after evidence, but, so can people in civil suits. You don't have to be a police officer to go after evidence. You can have a civil suit and you can get warrants and subpoenas. Mesny process. It's called mesny process. Which is things that you do in proceedings which aren't necessarily performed in the court, right? And that's actually, I don't know if actually Herbert Broom does mention mesny process, but it's definitely mentioned in the law anyway. So, the mesny process of petitioning is the preparation of the petitions and the information gathering and promoting it and collecting the signatures and then adding it into Parliament, okay? And then any further cooperation with Parliament after it's handed in, right? Now, the problem is that those mesny process and agency are ours, okay? And the problem is that Parliament have got their own privileges, and yet it's still in the same proceedings, but only in the same way that police have got their own agency, and the Crown Prosecution Service have got their own agency, and the court has got its own agency, but either of those agencies is completely useless without the other, right? Because the police are useless without the CPS because they haven't got any barristers to try the case. And without the court, they can't, there's no point in the police arresting someone because they won't be able to have a trial without a court, right? But yet they've got their own agency each. So, and this is the thing about Parliament, the House of Commons is nothing without the Lords. And the House of Commons is nothing without the electors, right? Because you haven't got any MPs and they've got no material, supposedly. It doesn't all come out as Keir Starmer's shoebox because, he hasn't got a shoebox if no one bought him any shoes, right? Or if no one voted for him to be in Parliament, right? He's not there to shovel material out of the Labour Party headquarters. He isn't, right? That is not the purpose. The purpose is, or else he wouldn't have a surgery in his local constituency. He might as well close it down and close the petitions committee down, right? And then say, the maximum number, Labour won the votes from this party, and all the only business on the table is this party's business, okay? That's what he's trying to do, even though there were MPs from other parties, right? Because then we wouldn't be able to have MPs from other parties, because, it's almost kind of like, what about the MPs who aren't Labour? This is the thing. So, there are, obviously, when you go into a court, you have police in there sometimes, but not all the time. And sometimes the Crown prosecutors are in the police station, but not often. Sometimes the defendant or the victims go to see the CPS, but not always. And sometimes, people go into court. You even got jury in the court, right? Or you've got separate elements in a process, right? You've got independent components to processes like probation service, right? It orchestrates it together, even though they've all got separate agency. And what Parliament and the government have tried to do is pretend that the public are a very unimportant and unprivileged, insignificant part of the process. And to be honest, I think the petitions committee is a charade. If it's regarded as a sideshow, like some kind of circus sideshow, which is very important and must be kind of like kept as a sideshow. And that's why I don't think the debates amount to anything and aren't actually serious. They're not powerful. They can't, they're not voting things through in a committee, and then getting the speaker to sign it off, say make this law, make that law, right? Or, investigate this, investigate that, have an inquiry in this, have an inquiry in that. That's what it's meant to do, right? But instead, because of this, this Matt Hancock kind of like, no, not Matt Hancock, sorry, Dominic Cummings. This Dominic Cummings report of, everything's pre-scripted, nothing can go off script, everything's already predefined, it's just like a directed, produced show, right? And it can only be within certain constraints, otherwise it could actually amount to something, and they don't want it to amount to anything. We've got to make the public believe that, that they can affect government, that they can affect politics, that they can change the country. In order to keep the charade going, we need to make this kind of little sideshow petitions committee with their own little thing, and you can, if you're lucky, like if you win the lottery, you can get a debate, and then they'll kind of put on a little show for you and make it look like they're doing something effectively, right? That's effectively what I believe that it's come down to now, which is why they're not giving any powers, because they don't want to acknowledge the courts aren't acknowledging our privileges. First of all, our privileges are in law, and the court's got to apply the law. So the court's not acknowledging our privileges. Now, we use our privileges with Parliament, so they're a party to the petitioning, okay? So really we should be getting back up in support. Now let me explain that part of it, right? So the Parliament have got the Parliamentary Papers Act, where they can do writs of certificate, right? Privilege writs from the Speaker. Now, the Houses of Parliament are trying to make out that it's just for them, or for, someone that they make an order to publish something, right? They're trying to make out that it's not for evidence before a committee or for canvassing or messing the process of petitioning. They're trying to make out it's just for either members of Parliament or anyone they issue an order to, not that they receive an order from or a request from, right? So they're trying to make out that, their certificates and privileges, and ours, right? But they don't want to acknowledge or back us up on our privileges. It's almost kind of like the CPS or the court, saying that none of the police laws exist. Like, that there's no such thing as, the if it would hinder the progress of the vehicle for the purpose which is being used, the speed limit doesn't have to be, observed. In which case, why weren't the police officer getting prosecuted along with the driver? Oh, no, we can't do that. So, both the CPS and the court acknowledge and understand the existence of police law. It probably doesn't get mentioned in court because no one's challenging it. Why don't they challenge it? Because they don't want to, right? Because they acknowledge and understand the law. Now, that's not happening with petitioning Parliament, right? The House of Commons and House of Lords Petitions Committee are not acknowledging our law. And neither are the courts, right? Neither of them. None of them. Right? And this is the problem with Keir Starmer, the Prime Minister, right? And the Petitions Committee and the Speaker. So, and all the lawyers. Now, this is the worst part of it, is this. So, our privilege and our process, the preparation of the petitions, that's a privilege. The advertising of the petitions, that's a privilege. The collecting of the signatures from the subjects, plural subjects, more than one, right? That's our privilege. Now, the Petitions Committee, Parliament, made this website, and then, which is usually our process, our privilege, the putting the hands to the petition, the drafting, the creation, the writing of the petition, and the advertising of it, right? That's all our messy process. It's all our privilege, right? And what they did is they built a website, and they said, hey, why don't you come and do that on our website, effectively in Parliament, on our website, right? It's our own publication. That's what it is. It is a publication, right? So they invite, it's like, never invite a vampire into your house, They invited us in there with the, well, we're doing you a favour. This is a big, big favour. We're doing you a favour, right? But there's the catch, right? There's the catch. What they're doing is inviting us, okay, to do our processes, our privileges and our processes, right, on the Parliament website, right? And what they're doing is they're applying all these conditions which didn't exist before the 2006 website. No such conditions existed in the preparation of a petition. No one's standing over your shoulder telling you you can't write that, okay? No one's saying, no, you can't put this in a newspaper, because there were no newspaper oppositions or challenges, right? And no one's preventing you from collecting any number of signatures, right, to what you write before you hand it in, right? No such restriction exists, except for there was a court process, but that can be judged by members of the public, right, a jury. And that doesn't apply if it's under 20 signatures. You only had to get consent from a court, to do that process more than 20 signatures. And apparently after 1688, it was considered a joke process anyway, right? But that's in the book, in the Herbert Broom book, right? So what they do is, right, they invite us in to the House of Commons, like virtually, like digitally, virtually, right? And they say, right, well, we've done you this big favour and we've provided you this website now, but you're going to have to, house rules, right? But there were no house rules for our part of the process. After we'd handed it in, then they could stick it where they want, right? But what they're doing is they made you this big thing, right? We're doing you a favour, but now it's house rules, right? But they've got their privileges and we've got our privileges. But one of these house rules is that we don't have any privileges. They don't exist. Funnily enough, the hilarious part is the first house rule is there are no house rules for you, right? That's the first house rule. So that, I mean, that is that's the first house rule is that you don't have any house rules for you. They're all our house rules for us. You don't have no privilege. It doesn't exist. And this is the thing. Now, if when we got our privileges in the courts are going to recognise our privileges, right? And abide by the law, right? The justices, the judges, right? We've got the law. But this is the thing. Parliament invite us onto their website, right? Their house rules. But their house rules are that we don't have any rules. For us, we don't have any privileges. So suddenly, our privileges disappear, but we're doing something officially with Parliament. Oh, that's great. What teamwork. Now you're talking. So I'm not, in a butcher's shop buying sausages. I'm not in B&Q looking for a lawnmower. I'm not at an ice cream van buying a lolly. I'm not, in the lake, Southport, fishing for ducks, right? We're on the Parliament website doing petitions to government, right? So, you couldn't be partnering with anyone else more than something that concerns privileges of Parliament and messing process. In fact, it's on the Parliament's website. So, but they don't seem to want to help you, assist you, or back you up with what you're using to do that, to get there. Talk about teamwork. It's almost like Captain Planet, with our powers combined. We are Captain Planet, Hey, this is great. Oh, with our powers combined, you have nothing. No privileges at all. Zip, squat, It's like, 1 plus 1 is 2. Not with Parliament and petitioning, it's like 1 plus 1 is 1, or not even 3, this House of Lords. It's like the subjects plus the Commons plus the House of Lords. 3 privileges. Oh, no. 1 plus 1 plus 1 is 2. The privileges of the House of Commons and the privileges of the House of Lords. 1 plus 1 plus 1 is 2. Wow. 1 plus 1 plus 1 is 2. Isn't that 3? No. 1 plus 1 plus 1 is only 2. This is the thing. So it's like piff, paff, poof, gone, right? And we're backing you up for nothing, right? Nothing. We're backing you up for nothing. Well, but I'm on your website. You're on our website. This is our website. Well, what we're doing on your website. So, and the worst thing is, it's published. Now you're talking. Now it's like publishing a newspaper. You're on your own. It's just you and the Bill of Rights. You sort it out with a newspaper. Johnny Smith petitioning the King. Through the newspaper. Oh, he's on his own. He's got consent from the court. He's on his own. And he's getting a couple of flyers out, going round houses, knocking on doors. He's a policeman. Oh, he's on his own. You're on your own, Johnny. Well, you in the Bill of Rights, you're on your own, right? You're all by yourself, right? You get them flyers knocked out, get that newspaper advert knocked out, get them books published, right? But, I'll tell you what, we'll help you out. We'll do you a big favour. Look at this, all singing, all dancing, electrical website. But ooh, house rules, you know. So it actually turns out that, you know, half the time, you know, oh, we can't have that, reject. Just a minute, I've got some rights here, you know. And by the way, you know, it's nothing to do, you know, I need to see a dog about a bone, you know, I need to see a man about a watch, I need to see Parliament about a petition, but, you know, there ain't no privileges around here for you, you know, or for us, you know. And but what about that certificate from, you know, Parliamentary Papers Act? Anything that Parliament publishes, well, aren't these petitions published on Parliament website? Didn't you order them being published after you approved it? Oh, no. That's nothing to do with you. That's Parliament privileges. That's when we ask Hansa to do something, not when we, you know, ask a website to put it out. You know, when we put it out on our website, you know, well, you know, it's so they're not even wanting us to. You know, their we can't even use their certificate on their website, right? Because it's not for them. It was for us, you know. So what is for us? You know, it could be more dastardly, and I actually think that this e-petitions website is actually almost like a big fishing net in catching all of the things that people might be submitting to Parliament by letter and in writing on paper in the traditional manner, the traditional method, and going around doing all the hard work and submitting it. And people don't do that anymore because they can do the digital one, but half the digital one's getting rejected, right? And I think that people aren't bothering to do them on paper anymore. And aren't bothering to go around doing houses. And that suits Parliament because then they've got the entire monopoly on this, you know, they get to choose what gets published or run or signatures and what gets said. But they're not meant to have a say in what gets said because it's not their privilege to draft, to write, to prepare the petition. I prepare the petition, or else it's not my petition, right? So what they've done is they've hijacked. They've done a merger agreement. They've done a merger agreement, right? That is very, very good deal for partisan politics, because then they get to literally, well, they've completely written off our privileges. Absolutely, utterly undermine them in complete and utter disregard and contempt. And then they're picking and choosing what they will let us do, which they don't have a right to do that, at least in the preparations of it, and telling us what we can and can't prepare. And yet they think they're doing us a big favour. Well, no, they're doing us a big favour because they've caught all the political independent opinion in a big fishing net, and then they're going filtering through it what they're going to allow. Whereas otherwise, everyone will be, you know, going around doors and knocking houses. But don't go to all that trouble because we've got this nice singing, dancing website in there. It's like, you know, buy a lottery ticket. You know, it's like trying to win the lottery, trying to get you got more chance of winning the lottery, right, than getting a petition published on there through their standards, because the standards are illegal. Because, as we've said earlier, and this is where the rest of it ties into it, right? There's no oath. You don't have to take an oath. If you don't have to take an oath, you'd have to tell the truth. Even witnesses are calling. And everything's protected. You know, defamation, everything's covered, you know, from prosecution with the Speaker's certificate. But, oh, no, that's not for you. But it's on Parliament website published. Yeah, but it's on Parliament website published for us, not you. Well, what about the right to petition? Oh, we don't have that anymore. You know, you're doing it on Parliament website now. It's Parliament privileges for us, not you. But what about our privileges for me? No, there are no privileges for you. You know, well, that's funny. You know, so, but yet, you know, the House of Lords cannot do anything without the House of Commons, right? And the House of Commons aren't allowed to debate or interfere with the privileges of the Lords. And what the House of Commons are doing is they've took it upon themselves to make their business, our business, their business. But not our privileges their business, because they don't exist, we don't have any, right? So what it is partisan politics trampling up and down on us and making out it's doing us a big favour, right? With a catch, a big catch. And it works out great for them because, they literally tame the beast, right? But, what is the beast? Because the beast can't what? Is a slithering beast or what? Parliament can't exist without us because there can be no MPs, right? And it can't do anything without any material, which is meant to be provided by us. So, and this is the basis of Herbert Broom, which is that you've got three distinct agencies with three distinct privileges who are the judges of their own privilege, right? Which has to be recognised by the courts. And these three distinct agencies don't, aren't supposed to interfere with their privileges, but they still all work together. So, is it the Speaker's responsibility to give out a certificate? Well, they've made the website. It's almost like the painting, the creation painting. When they've got the Adam and God, and the two hands are the fingers are about to touch. Creation. That's when you're on the petitioning with all the signatures, right? And then they can stick it where the sun don't shine. But what they've done is they've built like a conservatory, an extension, and they've said, "Oh, come on in." But house rules, and they've completely and utterly taken domination of it, right? Subjected it, subdued it, right, under their control and domination, and it's not freedom anymore, freedom of subject. And they've completely ignored and undermined our rights, and they don't. But they want us to come. They want the website, and they want to invite us on it, and they're saying that this is a process, but they don't want us to have any benefit, any of the benefits of it. In fact, they want utter and complete They've got absolute total control over it. The part of it that is our privilege, which is the collecting of the signatures from the subjects, plural, S, more than one. Right, and more than 20, and the preparation of it, and they've hijacked it, and now they're holding us for ransom. We can't do this, can't do that, which is they're taking over. They've taken over the process. They've taken control of it. So, this is what happens. Political parties taking control, and then they do going on all this. So we can't have independent candidates because they won't be able to form a government. Well, you can form a government when you've got MPs, right? They lie about that. People think, all this, you won't be able to form a government. Well, what tosh, right? Parliament's full of MPs. That's what a government is. MPs in a chamber voting on things with a speaker, right? All this party politics is tosh. If they'll learn to work together. This is the thing. So, that's where I am with it. And then you get to this fact with like Michael Westwood, when he's got all these 3 million signatures, and they're saying that, we can't do anything about it, when they can. And acts of law, they're even lying about acts of law. What acts of law say? Courts may hear election petitions, even though, it's Parliament's privilege to debate their own matters with their own members and seats, which that also says in Herbert Broom as well. So, they can't tell the truth about anything, or they just don't know, they're not competent. It's all groomed. It's all grooming and staff training and conditioning, and not very intelligent either, not very deep, although there are some intelligent things they do, but it's redneck, it's pure redneck, and then, when you've been abused by these people and lied to, it's contagious to other people, and other people, we get affected. It's like some kind of contagious redneck disease. So, something needs to be done about it.